Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy Sunday. It is June 9th, 2024. And if you've been watching my videos for the last couple of weeks, you may have seen that I've been thinking about a career pivot, but some things have happened this weekend that have made me think more about it. My I hope you guys could hear me talk earlier because my computer just refreshed for some reason. Anyways, so happy Sunday. It is June 9th, 2024, and I have been thinking about a potential career pivot, and I'd like to update everybody on that. Unfortunately, and this is something that comes and goes all the time and bothers me a lot because of what I do for a living, is that I have a mouth sore again. I'm a professor at Maricopa Colleges, and mouth sores are a huge burden. Not only is it painful when you have a mouth sore, but it can really pigeonhole any sort of good speech, right? So, for example, I would really hesitate on trying to ask a girl out on a date when I'm speaking with a mouth sore. I would really hesitate on talking to my boss when I have a mouth sore. I would really, especially hesitate on, God forbid, if I had like any sort of official issue, like imagine that I recently fought a traffic ticket and I won actually, or if I had to go to court for some other reason, a small claims court, or I would try my best to get the case continued if that were the case. The reason for that is that when you have a mouth sore, you have a tendency to want to cut things short, right? You don't really think about it, but you have a tendency to feel time pressured every time you want to bring something up, right? So, for example, when you try to ask a girl out on a date, you might say 10 words, and only two of them actually have meaning to them, right? The other 8 words are there to dress up what you're trying to say, right? When you have a mouth sore, you have a tendency to skip those 8 words. Let's just put it that way. And it really it hurts physically, and it hurts my endeavors. Let's put it that way. And so I had sworn that I was going to take a break off of the art projects, but now that I think about it, I really need that second career that doesn't require me to speak to anybody, right? I could go all day pouring art without ever having to say a word, right? If it weren't for the Peter Dislike shows that I sometimes record in the middle of the art project, I really could go days and days of making art without ever having to open my mouth, right? I want to talk about the other reason that we open our mouths, which is to consume. Um, I got to point out something. One day I was in the middle of eating something and I wanted to check my email, and I accidentally opened my Zoom instead, and the computer was showing me stuffing my face, and I was grossed out of my mind. And I discovered that if I just eat in front of the mirror, I can't. It's so gross to have a foreign body come up to your mouth and just disappear into your. It really is, and it really flies against common instinct that people would ever enjoy eating. Right, eating should almost be like a necessary evil, right? Kind of like how nobody enjoys. I don't know. You can imagine all sorts of upkeep that you have to do on your body, right? Any sort of medical procedure, like having a surgery. Nobody ever says, I look forward to having back surgery someday when I need it, right? I look forward to chemotherapy. Can you imagine anybody saying that, oh my God, I get to go take another round of tasty chemotherapy or radiation, right? I can't look I can't wait to go lose my hair again, right? I can't look at myself when I'm eating, right? I have to dissociate from the concept that a foreign body is coming to my mouth and it's disappearing. If I think about that, I will literally starve myself to death. So it really boggles my mind how people can enjoy it, right? What else did I wanted to talk about? Oh my the reason I wanted to pivot my career. So I have a dream job at the moment, and I got to be careful with telling you guys about it. I learned the hard way that some people will only want to reward you if they see that you're in pain at your job, right? If you're doing your dream job and you're loving it, oh my God, people will walk all over you, right? Let me give you an example. I was working with tutoring online. This was in late 2020, early 2021. And I had a student that I was teaching my favorite subject in, right? Calculus, right? And one day, my boss comes to me and says that one of my colleagues is away and asked if I could teach biology, which I have no idea how to, right? I said, I haven't even touched biology since I was in college, and I really struggled through it. I'm glad those days are over, so I'm sorry. I hope you find somebody else, right? And my boss says, just do your best. We really can't find anybody. Oh, why don't you read up about it? Do your best. And this was in the midst of COVID, and I wanted to be a team player, and I said, okay, but I really can't guarantee anything, basically. And so I spent the weekend reading over it, and then I tutored the kid, and I continued to work with the calculus student. And obviously with calculus, I could do that with my eyes closed, right? I could do it in my sleep, right? With biology, I really have to think and have to struggle. I almost like I'm learning with the student, right? Rather than teaching the student. Anyways, my colleague comes back the following week. I don't know what happened to him, and then I talked to my boss, and I said, hopefully I didn't ruin things too much, right? Because I really just relearned this. I haven't touched it since I was in college. And it's funny because he actually complained more about my calculus class than the biology class. And I know why. You got to remember, we were working remotely. And the parents can see the kids as they're sitting in front of the Zoom, right? And the parents probably just looked at my, or the calculus student, his parents looked at my screen, and it looked like I was having a fun time, right? I was reading a bedtime story, right? I was enjoying it. I was talking about all my personal experiences with calculus, right? And with the biology student, I'm really struggling there, right? And for some reason, we have to really struggle in order to get rewarded at our work, right? Look at the return to office mandates. Look at how much our bosses like to control. I was just reading about how this Walmart or whatever store, they had a really good employee, but he got written up because he decided to sit down for like 2 seconds in the middle of his shift or something like that. Seriously? How about you tell me how much sales he brought up at Walmart or whatever he was doing, right? How much customers love him, right? I want to hear that part of the story. I don't care how he does it. I don't care if he can wave a magic wand and make customers love him, right? I care about how much customers will actually come back, right? And unfortunately, we have this toxic mentality, right? I got to be careful, even with my art projects. I can't let my customers realize how much of a fun time I'm having doing it, or how easy it comes to me, or how gifted I am with how it comes to me. Because if they do, they won't want to pay. It is so weird. So for example, you guys know that I love pouring those Buddha statues and all that. I came up with a strategy. Even when I get a bad pour, I'll still sell it, even if I can only get whatever the metal is worth. And the reason for that is to instill in my customers that it does not come easy. And plus, I'd rather somebody go enjoy the Buddha rather than just recycling it, right? Even if I only get whatever the metal price is, right? And I think that's a very toxic situation, that people want to pay for people to suffer. That's basically the definition of slavery, right there, right? The other reason I wanted to pivot my career, aside from the outsource, aside from people wanting to pay for pain, right, is that I'm having a difficult time with making networking connections here in the Phoenix area, right? But over the weekend, I had 2 really good connections. What had happened was I go to a board game meetup there's one meetup that's every Wednesday. It's actually at one of the members' homes. And he had a friend also that goes to that meetup. And one day, I'm just really busy with my art. It has nothing to do with money or anything. One day I had a pair of shoes that were just completely falling apart. Not that I can't afford shoes. Not that I didn't realize it. I was busy. Got an art show coming up. And long story short, the member, his friend, bought me some new shoes, and so I said, no, don't worry about it. It's not that I can't afford shoes. I just got busy and all that. So next week I'll give him one of my better pours actually of the Ganesh in return. But that, the fact that it wasn't the shoes that I needed. It was the fact that the person cared enough about me. And then yesterday I was at a trivia meetup, and I had a good conversation with one of the older people there, and she wants me to get to know her daughter. And so now I'm starting to feel a little bit better. But it's a roller coaster, right? I didn't feel this sense of roller coaster when I was in Wallace, Idaho, or certainly not Taiwan, right? We all behave like as a team, right? All right. So some updates on what's going on, and hopefully my mouth sore will go. I've been getting mouth sores a lot. I don't know why, but this past year, I don't know if it's a COVID-related symptom or maybe the stresses of all this stuff going on. It could be toxicity from some of the metals that I've been working with, but I haven't been working with too many toxic metals. Mostly just zinc and bismuth. Occasionally tin, right? Tin's probably the most toxic metal that I come into contact on a regular basis. Uh, all right. So happy Sunday. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.